today I thought I'd give you guys a quick look at the Go My Code Space before we get into today's main content. So yeah, Go My Code is located in UC2, just in front of Temoko. The place actually has a nice view. You see fine cars passing by, fine people once in a while. So Go My Code itself is on the first floor. got a nice it's got a nice space, class view classes and the kitchen. My favorite spot. I don't joke with food, guys. We're divided into small cohorts, about 4 students per group, and this is where most of the learning actually happens. If you've ever tried to align elements in CSS and things just refuse to work how you want it to, yeah, I've been there too. In this video, I'm going to break down CSS Flexbox in the simplest way possible. What it is, why we use it, and how you can start using it immediately. What is Flexbox? So Flexbox is short for Flexible Box Layout. It is a way to arrange elements in a row or column. Instead of struggling with positioning and margins, Flexbox gives you a cleaner, more controlled way to lay out items. Why do we need Flexbox? Before Flexbox, aligning items was frustrating. Centering things was hard. For example, now, after writing your HTML documents, you will notice that most of your items are on the left side of the page. Everything aligns like that vertically. So there's no way for you to space things as you would, there's no way for you to space things as you would when you're drawing. Maybe you want something to be, let's say you are doing an architectural design now and the kitchen is supposed to be at the edge of the whole structure of the whole building. Your parlor is supposed to be maybe at the middle, or there's no way for you to arrange your design as it should be with just HTML. But with Flexbox, you can do that. You can space elements evenly, you can align items easily, control spacing, and make your layouts more responsive. Main axis and cross axis. Flexbox works using two directions. The main axis, the primary direction items flow. The cross axis, the opposite direction. Now, this depends on your flex direction. If you set flex direction as row, items go from left to right. If you set flex direction as column, items go from top to bottom. So your axis changes depending on this. Let me give you an example. Now, first of all, how do you represent flex? We represent flex by display flex. As you can see, our HTML has been flexed. Now, before this, without your flex layout, this is how your HTML document is shown. This is how it is displayed. Everything on the HTML goes vertically from top to bottom. Now, when you flex your HTML document using the Flexbox layout, as default, all your items go from left to right. I'll be demonstrating the main axis and the cross axis to you guys and explaining how flex direction row and flex direction column affects our web page. This is our numbers on the main axis. Now, what exactly did I do here? I give each of the numbers a width 100 pixels That's the width and the height. Then I give them a background color each. And how exactly did I represent flex? How did I display flex? I did that by first calling the container, the class container, by saying dot container, then a curly bracket, display flex, and don't forget your semicolon. Then after that, I called each of the numbers separately, and then I gave them their specific formats. The default plane for anything that is flexed is on the main axis, which is horizontally. Now, if I were to move, this, if I were to move the numbers across the, if I were to move the numbers on the cross axis, then I will do this. First, I will call out flex. I'll call out the flex direction rule. For the flex direction rule, the items will move to the main axis. And there are two ways to go to the main axis. You can either display flex. When you display flex, your default is already on the main axis. And when you use Flexbox rule, we are still doing the same thing. But then when you say Flexbox column, your main axis changes from the horizontal to the vertical, and then your cross axis becomes horizontal. Now let me show you what happens when the Flexbox column. The numbers are vertical, and now the main axis is on the vertical while the cross axis is on the horizontal. Aligning items. Now here's where Flexbox becomes way more powerful. To align items along the main axis, we use justify content. To align items along the cross axis, we use align items. Some common values you use are flex start, flex end, center, space between, space around, and space evenly. Now let's demonstrate that on our Visual Studio Code. Now, as we said before, the first way to align items, along the main axis is justify content. So we'll be using justify content to space our items or to align them using some of the common values that we've listed here. Let's start with flex start. Now, this is what happens at flex start. Flex start moves your numbers or your items to the beginning of the page. Let's try flex end. Flex end, as you have seen, as you can see, moves our items to the ending of the page or the ending of the border as we specified before. Let's try flex center. Let's try center. Center moves your items to the middle of the page. Space between. Now, what space between does is that it gives a space between each items on the page. Now, as you can see, there's a space between 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and 5 to 6. Now, the next one, space around. Now, space around does almost the same thing as space between, but it doesn't only consider in between spaces, it also considers the whole items in general. So it gives a space before the start of the item and a space at the ending of the items. Now, for the last one, I didn't mention it here, but there's also space evenly. Now, space evenly is almost like space around, but instead of having space evenly is almost the same as space around, but it gives an equal amount of space before the items and after the items. Now, as you can see, this is how we align items on the main axis. Now, to align items along the cross axis, we use align items. To align items along the cross axis, we use align items. So we start by using the first common value, which is flex start. Now, our items have been aligned to the starting of the cross axis, which is here. Now, let's try flex end to take our items to the ending of the cross axis. As you can see, this is the end of our cross axis here, and our items have been moved down. Let's try cross, let's try center to move our items to the center of the page. As you can see, this is the center of our cross axis. So you can go ahead and try the remaining three, that is space evenly, space between, and space around on your own. But as you have seen, this is how we align our items along the main axis and along the cross axis. So if you like this video, please do well to like and subscribe and stay tuned for our next content.